Hey everybody, welcome back to another Talking Vandals segment. Noah Schmick alongside the voice of the Idaho Vandals, Dennis Patchin. After a 3-point loss, came so close, the Vandals down in San Jose State, losing to the Spartans. But Dennis, give us your kind of immediate reactions from that. I know we taped this on Monday, but after you got to kind of watch some stuff and see what really stood out from that game.
I think it's a lot of the same feeling they had against Washington State. You lose a game on a field goal to the final 10 seconds of the game. I think it's a game you thought you had won, but then it slipped away from you, and now you got to figure out how to rebound from that. I mean, you know, they're disappointed because they feel this Vandal football team feels they should be 4-0 on the season, and, you know, one play in each game, and they are 4-0 in the season. But in the grand scheme of things, you lose on the road to 2 FBS schools by 3 points. Okay, you got to be feeling at some point when you take a look at the first, third of the season, because that's where we are now with 8 conference games. You got to feel, okay, we're doing more things right than we are doing wrong. We just need to clean up a few things.
14-0, they got out to a really hot start there against San Jose State. Maybe San Jose State made their adjustments. I guess, was there anything that you saw? I mean, it looked like the Vandals were in command at the beginning of this game.
Well, you got to remember, the field goal by San Jose State with, 8 seconds to go was their first lead of the game. They had never led the game. Tied at 14, tied at 21, tied at 28, but they had never led in the game. The defense wasn't as dominant in that game, and the one thing that they haven't allowed in the first 3 games before was the big plays. An 87-yard touchdown run when San Jose State had it at their own 13-yard line. Those are tough. A third down play that resulted in 56 yards that set up another touchdown. So, those are tough. And then the other thing, and probably the thing that Coach Ford is more upset about, is they had 9 penalties again. They had big numbers in penalties in the first 2 games. Only had 1 penalty for 5 yards in the Utah Tech win, but then the ugly penalty thing reared its ugly head, including a big false start penalty on a 3rd down and short, which made it a 3rd and 7. They weren't able to convert and had to kick the ball away late in the game. So.
Well, San Jose State, they run that run and shoot. It was kind of interesting to see that the Vandals passed for more yards than the Spartans. Joshua Wood, good and bad from him. I guess, what did you see from him?
I thought he was pretty good in the game. I thought he made some good decisions. He let his receivers have an opportunity to catch the football when he needed to. There were a couple of passes that were off, but San Jose State was probably getting more pressure than anybody else had. It's a pretty good defensive front. They limited the Vandals what they can do on the rushing game. So I think he was pretty good. He ran the speed option, scored a touchdown, picked up another key first down on a 3rd and long when nothing was open in the scramble. And it wasn't one of those. We saw him at Washington State make one read, maybe glance at the second receiver, and then just take off. San Jose State, and we're seeing his development, he's 1, 2, 3. Now he's not taking off, but he's running to try and keep the play alive, to throw the football, and then when it breaks down, then he takes off and runs with the football. He put a fake on a guy that, he has to go back and pick up his jockstrap. The guy was completely fooled. So when he runs the football, he scares people. San Jose State had a spy on him the entire game, which is probably why he didn't run for as many yards as he normally does. But the biggest problem is the last 5 possessions that San Jose State had, if you take out the 13 seconds at the end of the first half where they basically just took a knee, the last 5 possessions, they scored 4 touchdowns and a field goal. And that is why San Jose State won the game and not Idaho.
I'm going to pose this question to you from a Vandals fan perspective, because I'm sure everybody's wondering about this. Who is the Idaho Vandals kicker? And I thought we had that kind of figured out, maybe, right? Or I know you don't get to answer that. We should ask Coach Ford, but it was just what happened there?
I don't know. Yeah. We were told that Owen Forsman would be handling all the kickoff duties and all the place kicking duties. They had decided to make a change. Cameron Pope, after being 2 out of 5 in field goals, they decided to make a change. And they made that change midway through the win over Utah Tech, and that's what we were told, and that's what we thought we were doing. Forsman kicked off. Forsman kicked the 2 extra points. I wasn't even paying attention. I'm looking down at my notes to see what Owen Forsman has done on the season, and I'm saying Owen Forsman will be coming out to kick this field goal here at the end of the half. And I looked up, and it's Cameron Pope, and Cameron Pope was like, Okay, Cameron Pope. So apparently, in the Monday presser, Coach Ford said that he was watching warm-ups and Owen Forsman was struggling from the left hash. Remember, he's a left-footed kicker on the left hash. That's a harder kick than the other way around, so that's why he sent out Cameron Pope. Pope missed it. It wasn't close. I think Owen Forsman is the kicker going forward now. But I did not expect to see Cameron Pope in that situation. So to answer your question, we've been told Owen Forsman, the kid from Lakeland High School in Rathdrum, is the kicker now.
All right. Well, we'll have to kind of see, how that all kind of plays out, because special teams, again, can win or lose a game there for sure. So I guess maybe let's transition from the Spartans game to now we start Big Sky Conference play. You got your rivals for the battle for the Little Brown Stein, Montana. You're heading to Missoula too, so this is going to be an interesting game. Give us a little preview. I mean, the history of this rivalry. I know the past 5 years it's been interesting. They didn't play last year.
No.
Yeah. Give us a little history.
Because the Big Sky doesn't think that Montana and Idaho playing every year is important enough, so we make sure that Idaho plays Cal Poly and UC Davis every year. That's just me standing on my soapbox. You know what? The road team, since the return of the Big Sky Conference, they have played 3 games since Idaho returned in. 20, the spring season or the fall season in 20, they didn't play. So it's 22, 21, 22, and 23, the 3 fall seasons. The road team has won all 3 of those games. The first one was with Paul Petrino as the coach of the Vandals. The last 2 is with Jason Eck. This will be Thomas Ford's first meeting with Montana. He was on the staff of that team that was in Missoula that beat them the last time they played in there. This is a rivalry that is a pretty good rivalry. Now, let's be fair, because if Montana and Montana State, that's the rivalry. The rivalry between these 2 schools is they're 2 pretty good teams, and the rivalry is I need to beat you if I want to win the Big Sky Conference Championship. It's not the in-state rivalry, and I think I'm hoping that the Idaho-Eastern Washington rivalry will develop into something. I don't think it'll have the hatred that the Montana State rivalry has, because in my opinion, that's one of the top 10 rivalries in the country. It might be the best FCS rivalry. Say what you want to about North Dakota State, South Dakota State, or any of these others. I think Montana State is the best FCS rivalry and one of the top 10 in all of football. But these 2 teams, if you want to win the Big Sky, it was that way before Idaho moved up to the FBS, and it's been that way since they've come back, especially the last 2 years. You have to beat Idaho. We saw Jason Eck 2 years ago when Idaho beat them, going crazy. I was on the field 3 years ago when Eck beat him, 2 years ago in Moscow, and Bobby Houck came running past me celebrating. I mean, that victory meant something to him. Coaches want to win this game. Players want to win this game. And a lot of, early on in the season, if you win this game, the winner of this game on Saturday will be the favorite to win the Big Sky Conference Championship the first week into the season. Now, NAU's good. Montana State's good. Cal State Davis, UC Davis is good. Sac State. All those teams are ranked. They're going to be good. But you beat the other top 10 matchup. You beat the other one, you're the favorite.
Kind of touched on Bobby Houck, the coach, a longtime coach for the Montana Grizzlies. What makes him so good? I mean, he's, at least in my eyes, from covering Montana State, Montana, and like he said, that rivalry. But talking about the Grizzlies, they have a culture, and I think Bobby Houck has really established that. Is that what makes the Grizz so good? I mean, what's the challenges here for Idaho to try and maybe kind of get them off their pedestal or what they usually do?
First of all, it's so hard to win there. Washington-Grizzly Stadium, in my opinion, apologies to the people in Bozeman who are a close second, but that is the hardest place to win. That's the best atmosphere in the Big Sky Conference. It's going to be an 8 o'clock start. So the Grizzly fans will be pretty lubed up, shall we say, to use a kind term. And I mean, so it's not going to be an easy place to win. They have been very successful. They've been very successful for a lot of reasons. Bobby Houck's a good coach. He hires good assistants. They can recruit very well. They play a majority of their games, non-conference, at home, which gives them the opportunity to win games where other teams are having to go play FBS teams. Montana does not necessarily do that all the time, so the record is usually better. But that's a really good program that's had a history of winning for a long period of time, and people there expect their football team to win. You got to remember, if you're in Missoula, if you're in Bozeman, there's no other college in that state. It's not like we live here in Spokane and there's, Washington State, or if you're in Idaho, there's Boise State, or we even have in the state of Washington there, we have a professional football team. There's no FBS teams, there's no pro teams. That's the ticket. And so there's a lot of reasons that they're good, and you got to go in and you got to beat them. They're not going to beat themselves. They're not going to give you a win. That doesn't happen with the University of Montana.
I think one of the things also is we talk about the history and how good Montana has always been, a perennial powerhouse in the FCS, but how good are they this year? You look at their schedule, they have 3 wins, but those wins are kind of against teams where you're like, are those teams any good?
Well, their 2 wins are against FCS teams. So I don't, and they're not very good FCS teams. Their win.
They played North Dakota. They played Valpo.
Valpo's, excuse me, North Dakota. I apologize. I had another team on my mind. North Dakota is the best team.
Yeah.
I think that they have played, that they have beaten. They played Central Washington, and before you say, well, how come they didn't schedule an FCS team? They had an FCS opponent scheduled. They pulled out. They had to get Central Washington right at the beginning. They didn't play week 1 of the season either. They had to move so they're going to go 12 straight weeks, no bye week in between. That'll be an interesting thing maybe down the road. I don't think it's going to affect them now. That all being said, I don't know how good they are. They played Central okay, won the game, really not in doubt, but it wasn't like one of those 70-0 or 55-0 beatings or something. North Dakota was a game that, probably North Dakota probably should have won, if you're honest with you. They had a 9-point lead with 14 minutes to go in the game, and Montana came back and won that game. And they needed a touchdown to win that game because they kicked the field goal first. And then last week they played a team in Indiana State that's a non-scholarship team in that league that has Drake and St. Thomas that Idaho has played, and is not a good team in that league. Probably in the bottom 3 of that team. I don't know how good they are. But I do know something. Montana is always good at home, no matter how bad they are. So this is a team that's going to be fired up. This is a game, and you know what? If we were playing it in the parking lot, there would be a lot of people. Not only now, this game is on ESPN, not ESPN Plus that you got to get tinfoil together and everybody has to hold hands to watch. No, this is on ESPN Plus, like big time real television channel. So there's a lot at stake here.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of the Montana Grizzlies, at least this is their first big test. The Vandals have been kind of battle tested. You play Washington State, you play San Jose State. I mean, they've been battle tested. So I don't know. We'll have to see what happens.
I think it's fair to say, because I don't know how good North Dakota is going to be. Okay, but I think it's fair to say that Idaho has had 2 games against a caliber of opponent that the players on the field are better than anybody else that Montana has played. Now, Idaho has lost both those games. I'm going to play, okay, Idaho, you're from Montana. Well, Idaho got beaten both those games. We didn't. Well, they only lost by 3 in the last 10 seconds, so you can go back and forth. Okay. I think this is going to be a close game. I think this is going to be a whale of a game. And I think it's worth, if you're not going to be in Missoula, I think it's worth staying up and watching.
Who, I guess just from watching now, kind of my last question, I'm thinking, is it Joshua Wood that's going to need to win this game? Is it the running game that is going to just need to take over? How do the Vandals beat the Grizz?
I think the defense has to win this game.
The defense, okay.
They can't give up the big, if they can play like they played against Washington State, because I'm going to take Utah Tech and St. Thomas out of this. I'm going to look at those 2 games. If the defense plays like they play against Washington State, they will win this game. But if they play they did it like San Jose State, and it's not the number of points, it's the number of big plays they gave up, they're going to have some problems in this game. I don't think Idaho can go in there and give up 40 points or even 35 points and win this football game. I could be wrong. I just think the defense needs to keep them 21, 24, 27. because I'm not sure you go in there. And this will be, this will be Joshua Wood. This will be the most people he's played in front of since the Washington State game, and there may have even been more people that'll be in Missoula because there was nobody at San Jose State. So the 2 home games, the building doesn't seat as many people as there were in Pullman. This is going to be a crowd that's not going to be very nice.
Yeah, this is going to be a game to watch. ESPN 2, 7:15 Pacific time, 8:15 kickoff Mountain time. Make sure you stay up late. Yeah, take a nap.
Don't stay up late without taking a nap. Can you imagine being a Montana or Idaho fan on the East Coast?
No way.
It's 11:15.
It's a little too much. Dennis, always appreciate the time, appreciate the insight, and we'll talk again next week and talk a whole lot more with the Big Sky and looking. And like you said, this game is going to decide what ends up happening a little bit further down the road. So.